Taurine. Disclaimer first. I am not your doctor. Be your own best advocate. Like anything you do or anything you take, don't just listen to some bozo like me or any bozo out there. Do your own research. You're gonna hear my thoughts on taurine, but you gotta do you. You gotta think for you. That's a big part of this. And if you have experiences with taurine, you let me know that too. So what is taurine? Taurine's an amino acid that's produced by your body. Okay, it's one of the most abundant amino acids found in the body. It's found in like your brain and your retina, your organs. What's really interesting about taurine is taurine is not solely responsible for being a building block of protein, which means it's not just there to help you build muscles either. This is interesting because it serves other functions. This means it's what's called a conditionally essential amino acid. That kind of, in layman's terms, that means when you are real stressed, when you are not feeling so good, and I would imagine if you're doing a really intense workout, or you're like running a triathlon, you're, like me right now with two kids doing the juggling, you might need more taurine in your diet. Taurine is going to make sure your cells are functioning properly. Can I eat more taurine? You can eat taurine. It's found in shellfish like mussels, scallops. It's found in clams. It's found in tuna, the darker meat poultry, the chicken and turkey, beef. It's found in it. However, to get enough that will be notable and to make a difference in your diet, I don't know that you necessarily want to eat all that meat for multiple reasons. One, you might not want all that meat in your diet. You might be a vegan or vegetarian. You might just not want to eat, 3 pounds of meat a day. Meat's also expensive. Protein is the most expensive macro you can get. So if you don't need to eat all of it and you're not starving yourself, if you want to go for it, I don't know you need to eat all that taurine. Something funny you may have heard about taurine in the past, you may be worried about, you don't have to worry about, is taurine was originally extracted from bulls' testicles. That's how they got it and all that good stuff. It is no longer extracted from bulls' testicles. But if you have heard in the past of Red Bull with taurine, that is the reason for this. For my hopefully future faithful listener and avid bull testicle avoider, you're safe, at least in this department. I want to preface anything about taurine with we need more studies. The scientific evidence is mixed, some real good stuff, some like, what's it doing? I think for that reason, anecdotal evidence is really important. You may be someone who's deficient in taurine. You may see these great results we see in studies. You may be eating loads of meat or have a lot of taurine in your body. You might not see the same results. I'm going to give you my anecdotal evidence as well. I'm going to give you the science behind it too. It's going to be kind of a mix of what data says and what is my experience. First off, taurine has been shown to increase aerobic performance by delaying time to exhaustion. Kind of just how it sounds. You can go longer with taurine in your body. If you're like a real avid runner, a sprinter, that's a real great thing. It's also shown to improve anaerobic performance, is what you think of when you have, you want to build your biceps and your muscles and things like that. Taurine does that by helping you with strength and power. So this kind of goes back to what we were saying before. Taurine is not an essential amino acid responsible for building protein, hence building muscles. But if it's delaying exhaustion and it's helping my strength and power, that's going to allow me to probably get stronger faster and do all those good things. So for that reason, taurine may absolutely help you put on muscle based on the studies we're looking at. The other real neat thing it's going to do in regards to muscle is it's helping people with recovery. The way it does this is it reduces DOMS. Okay. DOMS is delayed onset muscle soreness. Don't overthink it. The less sore you are, the sooner again you can train the muscle. The more you break down the muscle's going to grow more. If I'm training my biceps or my shoulders or whatever muscle I want to grow, if you're a woman, you want to grow your glutes. If you're training that muscle 2 times a week, because you've alleviated the soreness, you're ready to train again, it's going to grow faster than if you only train it once a week. So another cool thing about taurine. There's been some studies with taurine regarding anxiety. Myself, I have struggled with anxiety my whole life. I have struggled with general anxiety disorder, panic attacks, overall specific anxiety, PTSD, not fun things when it comes to anxiety. The studies on mice are not conclusive in any way. Like many studies on mice, they can get you excited. I don't even know how you measure anxiety in a mouse. Maybe like the mouse isn't as worried that the other mice are going to eat his cheese. I'm stretching here, but I do not feel a reduction in anxiety when I take taurine, which I do take. I do feel taurine is relaxing. So in that sense, it has almost a cardiovascularly relaxing function, much like magnesium, which we'll talk about in the future. You can do a whole episode on magnesium. So for that reason, it could help you relax. Do I think you should not talk to a doctor or not be prescribed if that's something that you feel is appropriate? Absolutely not. Like anything, you talk to your doctor. Sleep. Can taurine help with sleep? I believe it may be able to help you with sleep if it's helping you relax, if it's helping your cardiovascular system relax. That's a possibility right there with taurine. You'll see that for yourself. Taurine's also been shown in some people to lower blood pressure. I wouldn't recommend taking a supplement on its own to lower blood pressure. There are other things you can do too regarding stress, even not drinking too much of this coffee. There are things in life that can be attributed to high blood pressure. Some people it is genetic, but taurine could be something that potentially helps you if that's something you're struggling with. Taurine also, they love to do studies on testosterone because it's popular with men and even women today with their lifting. And women do have testosterone in their bodies, so it makes sense. Not the amounts men have necessarily, maybe if you're an IFBB pro female bodybuilder, but I don't necessarily think taurine is going to give you a very large testosterone boost, if you will. Is it possible? I guess it's possible, but I also feel like it's such an easy way for someone to sell you something when they start talking about it's a testosterone booster. There are other ways to boost your testosterone. I don't know that taurine is the best way to boost your testosterone. Does taurine provide anti-aging benefits? This is the interesting one because I saw a few articles kind of referring like could the clickbait, my favorite clickbait, right? Could, as soon as you add could, it's like, well, that doesn't really mean anything. Could taurine be the fountain of youth? Well, studies on mice, I think Columbia did one in the Journal of Science, show it has anti aging benefits in that it seems to delay the aging process and it's becoming attributed to a healthy lifespan in these mice. Is it possible? This is promising. This is great to hear. There are studies. This is usually where studies on things start. They start with mice, then they eventually end up with us. It's promising. Is it the fountain of youth? Is it something that's going to be, the difference between people's lifespans going another 10, 20, 30 years? I don't know. I don't think it can hurt. I think the research so far is promising, which is nice. Cool thing about taurine too is it's cheap. I think for like $10, $20, you can get an effective dose for a month or whatever. The way I dose taurine is I take 2 grams 20 to 30 minutes before I train, and I take the 500 milligram capsules, is one of the ways it comes. I take 4 of those. There's a reason I take the 500 milligram ones and not the 1,000 milligram ones, or 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams, 1 gram. I also take 500 milligrams before I go to sleep at night for the relaxation of the cardiovascular system for that benefit. Why do I recommend you buy? And I'm going to get a link in the description for the one I use. Why do I recommend you buy the 500 milligram ones? It is easier to titrate it, which basically means you start at a lower dose and you take a little more and you see if it has a good effect. If it has a good effect, so if I go from 500 to 1 gram and I feel good, now I might go to 1.5 grams or 2 grams. If I feel even better, great. You could even try taking a little more. The studies show, most studies use between, I want to say, 1 gram and 6 grams. So you're in a safe range. If you find you're taking 2 grams like I am right now, and you're getting a benefit, and you go to 3 grams, and there's no real benefit, you go back to 2, and that's where you're at. That's how you titrate a supplement. Easier to do with a lower dose. And once you know what your dose is, if you want to buy 1 gram capsules, you can do that. The other thing with taurine that is really great, especially with a promising supplement like this, is that there are no side effects really found with taurine. Even with caffeine, the recommended kind of maximum dose is about 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's like 3 or 4 cups of coffee. Some people can tolerate more, some people can't. But there's no real, you're not hearing this with taurine, which is nice. So, what is my anecdotal evidence with taurine? How do I feel taking it? So on and so forth. What's it doing for me or not doing for me? Performance wise, I feel like I am able to go longer in the gym at a higher intensity. I see what the research says and I feel that. I feel like when I'm taking the taurine, I'm training harder for longer. When I'm not, I noticed a difference. 20 to 30 minutes before exercise seems to be good. Am I stronger on my sets? Am I lifting a heavier weight? I am not. I'm lifting the weights that are heavy for me right now for longer. It's delaying my time to exhaustion, much like we spoke about earlier. I feel that. I can see a difference there. In terms of sleep, is it helping me with my sleep? Well, my baby at the time I record this is like 5 weeks old. So sleep is limited to begin with. I don't know if it's helping yet. And I don't believe it can hurt, so I'm trying it. That's my experiences with taurine. If you want to give this a try, by all means, the brand I use is Thorn. They are not a sponsor of this channel, but they make really high quality tested supplements. You don't want cross contamination, other crap in your supplements. I mean, it's worse if you're an Olympic athlete, and I guess now you can't pole vault because they found steroids in your taurine. But I recommend Thorn highly. I will leave you a link in the show notes in the description. And you know what? It supports the channel too. So if you like that kind of thing, appreciate that. If you don't want to, that's cool too. But we'll get the link in there. Is there another supplement that you guys want me to talk about on this channel? Let me know. I'll do a deep dive. I'll bring it back to you. Next week, we're talking creatine. That's going to be a good one for men and women.